Well, hello everyone. Let me adjust the focus more in maybe the lighting also. Wait. Okay, great. Welcome to Conscious Together. This is the channel founded by actually two guys and a lady, Avanti, Bama Holly, Lauren Holiday, and Oliver, myself. And the purpose is to promote what we have experienced in the mindfulness, the benefit we have received, and try to spread to whoever have a good connection with us. We are covering different type of topics like trauma, workplace, or day-to-day life. And today, I'm going to talk more, maybe in the next few sessions also, on workplace, stress reduction, and maybe we'll touch a little bit on leadership also, and figure out how the workplace or a workplace can benefit us instead of solely being the source of stress, if you will. Okay, and I think let's start with today's session with a short 3-step breathing space meditation. Okay, here's the sounding of the bell. So I'd like to invite you to take a posture that's comfortable for you. I'm in a sitting position on a cushion, but you can sit on the chair or mat, or maybe you are in the car, just sit on the car, sit on the seat, or you can even choose to lie down if you can or if you want. My guidance will be based on a sitting position, a sitting posture. If you're on a chair, try lean forward a little bit. Make your back away from the back of the chair. Let the body support itself. Check the spine if it's straight yet relaxed. Relax your shoulder, arms, two hands. So your hands can comfortably rest on your lap or knees. Or maybe you can cross them in front of the abdomen. Let's check what's going on right now. What's happening? Any particular body sensations? Or any thoughts that's arising and staying and maybe disappearing in our mind? Any feelings, emotions? Am I happy, excited, or maybe sad, a little bit low, or maybe there's a little bit of angry? Any emotions, just be aware of them. You can also check if there is any impulse to do anything, take any actions. For example, if at my time is noon now, if you feel hungry, maybe there's an impulse to eat something. Okay, when you are ready, I'd like to invite you to bring the attention solely to the breath. It could be the nostril area where you can feel the in and out of the breath. Or maybe it's your belly. Expanding, contracting, or rise and then fall with the in breath and the out breath. Try as much as you can to keep your attention on that part of the body. Your mind may wander while we focus on the breath. This is totally fine. When you notice your mind is wandering, it is a good success of this practice. So now when you are ready, bring the attention to the whole body. And you can even expand it to what's around the body, to what's around you. And try to keep this openness to the next step of your life. And if you are watching or listening now, you can bring this to the next part of our practice here. Thank you for practicing with me. Today, I want to continue to talk about mindfulness and how we apply this to the workplace. Let's try a way that you're not only like listening to me talking here. So I was in a discussion with our colleagues that this live stream is not a TED talk where you may get excited, inspired. You still can be, but not in the same way, right? Like you're almost like jumping off and then yay, all things like that. But more a internal waking up, to the things, to the messages that's already there. You have it, but somehow you didn't realize you have it, right? All these good things, good qualities. I want to do it that way. So to do this, then maybe let's try getting this into a meditation while listening. Let me use the bow again. Okay, again, I'd like to invite you to take a comfortable position. If you're sitting on a chair, or maybe you have a chance to also be sitting on a cushion like myself. You just adjust the posture. Maybe again, watch our breath for a moment. See that can help you relax, feel more comfortable. And in the meantime, maybe even with a more clear mind while listening and meditating on what I am going to bring here. I think first of all, I want to talk about an ideal stress-free workplace. Does it exist? And honestly, not to my experience. I think myself, on a career-wise, is very typical modern time employee. Right after graduation, I was also in discussion with friends and my classmates. What should we do? But that time, finding a job in my culture was not a big issue. So you graduate from school, college, and there's a job for you. May not be the best one that you like, but there were not much more other opportunities available either. That's back then. During the discussion, some of my classmates wanted to be a teacher. The main reason is there are summer and winter vacations where you can totally relax, no work for most people, most teachers. Maybe by that time, the pay for the teacher was not great, but yet this good advantage of having almost 3 months, you don't have to work and you can do anything that you like. That impression kept in my mind for a long time. Myself started working in business, corporations, companies. So I thought maybe I should have chosen a school so that there could be less stress. However, after some years, when I check those that worked for schools, the teachers, maybe staff, it was not the case anymore. Even in here where I am, I'm in Orange County, California. No matter it's elementary schools or middle schools, if you check with the teachers, there's a lot of stress that you have students to cope with, their homework, planning, arriving at school fairly early, and not to mention there are different things happening too. For example, last couple of months, there were two threats in my children's school, which is supposed to be very um, safe, right? And I live in one of the safest city according to what people think. And these threats can definitely pose lots of stress and pressure to teachers and students alike. Was a bombing threat for 2 times. Fortunately, it was uh, later on clear it was just maybe a rumor or somebody just mentioned that and it was reported. So it's good. It was taken that seriously, and police has arrived in time and clear out the whole thing very quickly. But again, these things definitely put lots of pressure. You feel stress because of that. I think no matter I was talking to one of my kids, her uh, classmate's mom, who was a lawyer, and she expressed also the stress day to day. So I think there's no exception that you can't. Well, you can, hope for a ideal stress-free work, but very unlikely you can find it that easy. Or even if there is a one, maybe over time it will change, even maybe quickly too. So searching for a stress-free work, a stress-free job is almost kind of mission impossible. And honestly, it doesn't make sense because even there is a stress-free work, but that's not really where our stress is coming from. There are different type of stressors. In John Kabat-Zinn's book, Full Catastrophe Living, there is a illustration indicating there are external, maybe the people, relationship, accidents, all these things happening. That's the external stressor. But there are also internal, right? Imagine just as of now, when we sit here, when you sit here, can you notice there are different thoughts and emotions going on? Right? Maybe you feel happy and calm for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden it's like the weather, it changes. It changes maybe to sad, angry, feeling low, even depressed sometimes. Right? Where does these things coming from? Of course, discussions on this can turn philosophical. Mindfulness, modern mindfulness, is supposed to be religion free. So I can't say I'm an expert on that, but I did spend lots of time investigating this idea, even by getting into some of these philosophical systems or religions. You always can have your own answer. That's definitely the most safe way. The safest way is to have your own answer. But of course, there are some homework need to be done. Sometimes it takes years, like for myself. If you don't mind, I'd like to share a little bit of what I have found. Religion free or religion neutral is not like be away from all religions. I think maybe on the contrary, mindfulness can accommodate whatever the type of religions or philosophies. So I can elaborate this maybe in our later sessions if this is a topic of interest. My point here is where does the stress comes from? Where does it come from? There may be different explanations in different uh, religion or philosophical systems. Will take a very widely spread um, religion system is Christianity in the Western world. there is the idea of sin, which means there is something already there internal. Right? I think in most cases, communities or churches, it may not be that uh, well elaborated, right? What all the details about sin, but it's just in general, there's something there. That's where it comes from. Okay? The mindfulness, the spirit of mindfulness, or the tenets of mindfulness is there's definitely a openness, right? Try not to judge that quickly. Non-judgmental. Non-judgmental sometimes to me is try not to make a rush decision. Like this is not right. This is wrong. This is uh, BS or things like that. Be open. Be kindly open, maybe to anything. So we receive the greatest benefit. Okay, then if you look at some other religion like Buddhism, there's also something maybe similar called karma. Karma is the actions you have done previously, and it's stored there. It can be being dormant. However, when there is the right conditions, it's like a seas, when there's the right moisture, you have water, you have sunshine, and then it started to grow. Depending on different type of seeds, maybe some seeds grow to grasses, sometimes weeds. Some of the seeds grow into a huge tree, let's say. Even the seeds is fairly small. You can tell how big a plant can grow simply by looking at the size of the seeds. So that's Buddhism. That means it's there. At least maybe when we look at the internal stressors, sometimes the thoughts just popping up. It could be a good way to explain it. You're welcome to explore further if that's the interest. I think my role here is to bring all these kind of philosophy system that maybe you can look at. Well, in the mindfulness, the modern mindfulness self, there's a more emphasis on science, evidence-based. Evidence-based meaning you have this scientific research through instruments so that we can see images, measuring the changes on our brain, different parts of the brain, etc. That's the evidence-based. So these stressors, according to the modern mindfulness, is more in a way of evolution. Right? We evolved from the ancient times, so we inherit these kind of habits. It stays in our gene so that it passes from generation to the next. Okay, in that book, Full Catastrophe Living, there is a story. There was a child that was stuck in a pile of steel pipes. Each one of them is very heavy. If I remember, it's definitely more than maybe a few 100 pounds weight, definitely more than any individual to easily carry or move it away. But this gentleman, seeing the scene, seeing the child being stuck under that pipe, you never imagine how those power came from. He was able to just immediately move the pipe away from the child, so the child was saved. So it's a very happy ending story. However, the gentleman went back to the scene, again to the site, and then it was never possible again for him to even move that pipe for an inch. Right? You could see there are some power or something underneath there. We don't see it very often, but there is the power. There is the power. Okay, the point here is from the evolution point of view, when there is a stressor, when there is a source of stress, your whole system, it's not only the body, physical muscles, but the neural, the whole mind can be in a very different state. Sometimes we call fight, flight, frozen. So all three words starts with the letter F. What does that mean? That means if there is a pressure there, our whole system react to it somehow very instinctively. If you have taken mindfulness class, the term autopilot shouldn't be strange. It's a very instinct, automatic instinct that way. So in our time today, the modern time, modern society, there are a lots of pressure. Right? Imagine just in a workplace where we are talking about today, there may be endless emails, phone calls, job site walk, your assignment from the boss, help from the colleagues. That's even work, right? Not to mention maybe internally you have something for the family. Maybe at some point you're sick. These are very common, right? These are, how do we take these stresses, right? Is by way of that reaction, right? If imagine that steel pipe, that accident happens, let's say 20 times a day, or maybe even more, right? 50 or 100 times a day. Can our body handle it the way that it automatically does or react? Maybe not. Maybe not. However, the emails, the phone calls, the assignment from the bosses, not to mention sometimes those assignment or demand doesn't make sense, or at least doesn't make sense to you. That even will create more stress. just the normal, regular demand of day-to-day work, do we, does our mind take it as if it is that steel pipe? By scientists' research or the meditation masters, their teachings, yes, we do. We take that as if it is a life-threatening event. Right? Here's the best news. Right? Maybe we have talked a lot already. Here's the good news. Right? I'll give a couple of examples. One is the Harvard University study. They use an app just to investigate like what you are doing, or are you living at this moment, or busy on planning, memories, regrets, hope, things like that. They have found out that 50%, I believe it should be more, 50% of the time, we are not here. We are somewhere else. What does that mean? It means we're planning, hoping something good happening, or worrying about something bad happening. That's for the future. Or something from the past, either we attach to it because it's so good, or we just try ruminate, thinking, why this bad thing happened to me, or things like that. But we're really not focusing on this moment right now. It sounds like, again, it's very instinct, right? We're born that way. Like an example, my daughter, it's summer now, she was asking me, hey, Dad, actually, we were eating breakfast. She was asking me, can I watch iPad after this? I told her, how about just focus on eating the breakfast, and we can plan, or we can decide what we do next after you finish this. Well, I think sometimes children are better because they're listening. At least in the case of my daughter, she said, yes, okay. And then started ask me what I should do next after finish her breakfast. That was actually really good, right? Because the reason I was telling her that way is, if I just tell her, okay, you can watch your iPad, your YouTube after you finish your breakfast, and then the whole breakfast becomes a kind of hoping, right? Let me finish this as quickly as possible so I can watch my YouTube. And there was even a song called Are We There Yet? I think if you grew up here in US, you probably are very familiar with this song. It is very common to be asked this question from your kids, right? The right moment. Actually, the Harvard University studies shows that the happy moment, or the happiest moment, is where you are focusing what you are doing now, focusing on right this moment. This could make sense if you just think about it. just honestly look at it, because when you are doing something that you're enjoying this moment, of course you are happy, right? If you're thinking the next thing or what happened before, you're not happy. Pretty much that way, right? Meaning you don't like the thing that you're doing now. At least it's that way. Right? You're thinking, just like the breakfast example, you think the next thing, the YouTube, the iPad, is more important. It could bring more happiness. Right? In most times in life, if you are doing it that way, of course, you can't be happy. Right? One other example I like to use here is the scary movie. Myself, well, of course, I'm not saying that I'm the very bold person, no scare for anything like a scary movie. At one point, um, I didn't like scary movie, but um, at some other point, I was really looking for a movie that's really scary. It sounds like, but then I watched most of the movies that was available and supposed to be scary. I didn't feel that uh, being scared anymore. And then came this Japanese movie Ring. I know later on there is a Hollywood version being made, right? It was about a mysterious phone call or phone ring, followed by the TV being turned on, but there were no images. But yeah, long story short, there was like a ghost can crawl outside of the TV and scare whoever was watching to death. Yeah, it was a well-made movie, but by then I was really scared. So not only during the movie watching, but after that, long time after that, I couldn't even. By then, I was living in a dorm where the bathroom was uh, not in the same room. You have to walk through a hallway to get to the bathroom. Okay, I think it was a scary thing even for to walk through the hallway, but that time was really scary. The point here is just imagine that you are watching a scary movie, and all of a sudden, because of whatever reason, the movie has been paused, right? And then you have a chance to look at the other audience around you, or by looking at the screen. Here's a this is a screen. This is not as if, when you watch a scary movie, you almost like you're a part of it, right? You're getting out of it, right? This is what we're trying to do, some idea that I want to bring for today. Work life, right? You are so into it. What you are seeing is not necessarily all the facts or truth, right? Because you are somewhere else. You're not here. You're not now, right? There are those worries and concerns about the future, about the past. That simple pause can make your mind more clear, bring you back to now, back to what is truly right now in front of you. In that case of scary movie, you're not scared as much, but not in my case. This is just an example of watching the movie during the time that you're watching it. Right? In my case, even after, it's similar also, right? You're not watching the movie but the movie is in your mind, so that's similar. The pause can get you out of that whole thinking, clinging to that movie. Okay, this is the point that we're trying to make here, and these ideas that I think it will be helpful. However, mindfulness is not something, again, for us to talk only. You need to experience it. That's why it emphasizes on the practice a lot. So after receiving these information, I think it's time to do some practice. Okay, let me use the bell just to end this part of meditation / listening to me talking. Hopefully, this includes some helpful messages for you. And then you have a better idea why we should practice. Okay, let's take a little rest. Maybe if you really were sitting all the way while I was talking, then adjust your posture, stretch a little bit, maybe even by looking around, or move your neck like myself. Because I felt a little bit here, stress here. So let's relax it more. Okay, maybe back to our sitting position. Let's take about 10, let's say 12 minutes. Let's make it an hour total. We start the practice by hearing the bell again. Okay, I'd like to invite you to adjust your posture. Okay, check if the spine is straight. If you sit on a chair, try lean forward a little bit so that your back does not touch the back of the chair. Check to see if your shoulders are now relaxed. Rest your two hands comfortably on knees or laps, or maybe cross them and put in front of the abdomen. In some traditional way of meditation, these all have names. These all have names. If you cross them in front of the abdomen, is the meditation mudra. Putting them on knees, facing down is a mudra of great rest. So let's begin with bringing our attention to the breath again. The nostril area where you can feel the in and out breath, or maybe even the difference between the temperature difference between the in and out breath. You are also encouraged to pay attention to the belly area. See if the belly rises during the in breath and falls during the out breath. Just pay attention to the rise and fall. There is no need to force the breath. Let the body breathe by itself naturally. If you have experience of meditation, I presume that you have experienced how it does work. If you are new or a beginner, there are plenty of scientific evidences showing that our brain, different part of brain, could be changed in a positive way. This is also called neural or brain plasticity. Our brain is not something that's fixed and solid as we thought. We might be under the impression that memory is a whole set of drawers or cabinets that's in our brain. All memories stay there when needed, and then you just go pull or open the cabinet. This doesn't work that way. It is a series of stimulations and connections for different part of the brain, neurons, electronically and chemically, and maybe in a way that our scientists are not 100% sure yet. But one thing is sure, as we practice this sitting breathing, it does change our brain in a positive way, even if we don't have chance to have our own brain scanned by fMRI. It is still possible to feel how much more calm down and clear of our mind. That is the effect and result of a simple breathing practice. I said it is simple, but I did not say it's easy. Because if you watch what's happening now, you may find your mind is wandering again. However, as long as you find out, you notice that your mind has wandered, then you succeeded. This is the practice itself. So the practice is to notice the mind has wandered, no matter the thoughts or emotion. As long as you notice it, bring it back to the breath. Bring it back to what we are doing now. Well, as this practice and talk of today is coming to an end, I'd like to appreciate anyone that's been practicing, watching, or maybe later on watch the video. Please don't forget to subscribe our channel, like it, hit like, and then share with your friends. We'd like more people to receive this information and tools so that they can benefit from it. Thank you very much. We will see you next time.